Welcome back to Blue Flag Bandits, the series that drives the back of the grid cars from 2010 to the present day, whenever that may be, desperately hunting for points. And today, I welcome you to a new team and a new season. Welcome to 2011 and Team Lotus. Before we get to the ins and outs of 2011, let's quickly recap on our journey through 2010 with fellow new team Virgin Racing. It was quite the up and down season, to put it mildly. Starting with a point on debut, a rough early season, a much improved mid-season, and a poor tail end, only saved by an unlikely victory in Abu Dhabi, which saw us hold 9th in the driver standings and 6th in the constructors. Mark Webber took our 2010 championship, while Red Bull cantered to the constructors title. Our modest 80 points have, however, set the bar fairly high for everyone else to follow, starting with the green and yellow. Our focus now, though, turns to 2011. So what happened in the real-world 2011 season? Well, this was the season that saw the introduction of DRS to Formula 1 after the F-duct, used to great effect by McLaren the previous season, was banned. This season also saw the KERS device become optional for all teams, after it wasn't used in 2010 through a gentleman's agreement between the teams, though Team Lotus, Virgin Racing and HRT opted not to use it for cost-saving reasons. And it was also the beginning of the Pirelli tyre era, one which we're still in today, after Bridgestone left the sport, mainly due to the FIA asking them to create less durable tyres, which they felt went against their company ethos. It wasn't just technical regulations that changed in 2011, sporting regulations changed as well, with the 107% rule being brought back into qualifying, partly due to the large time differential between the established teams and the new entrants for 2010, while the ban on team orders that had been in place the previous season was lifted, owing mainly due to the controversy with Ferrari in the 2010 German Grand Prix. There were also a slew of driver changes, mostly in the mid to lower end of the grid, as the top 4 teams all retained their driver lineups. Lotus Renault were due to keep Robert Kubica and Vitaly Petrov, however, Robert Kubica was severely injured in an off-season rally accident, meaning he wouldn't return to the sport until 2019, and he was replaced by quick Nick Heidfeld, with Bruno Senna leaving HRT to take up a testing role with Lotus Renault. Team Lotus were the only new team to retain their driver lineup, with Lucas Di Grassi being replaced by Jerome D'Ambrosio of Virgin Racing, while HRT completely changed their driver lineup, bringing in Narayan Kartikayan and Vitantonio Liuzzi. Liuzzi's vacant Force India seat went to Paul Di Resta, a well-respected ETM champion, while Nico Hulkenberg was replaced at Williams by Pastor Maldonado. Hulk joined Force India as a reserve driver. 2011 also saw the debut of a certain Mexican driver by the name of Sergio Perez down at Sauber, taking the seat that was shared over 2010 by Pedro de la Rosa and Nick Heidfeld. The 2011 calendar was also due to be expanded to 20 races, with India joining the party. However, due to the Arab Spring protests in the Middle East, Bahrain was dropped from the calendar after hosting a pre-season test. leaving just 19 races on the calendar for 2011. Unlike 2010, there were no new teams on the grid for 2011, but there were some name changes, mostly down to sponsorships. So Force India became Sahara Force India, and various other minor name changes like that. But there was one significant name change, or two, Lotus Racing and Renault Grand Prix. Lotus Racing team owner Tony Fernandez announced he purchased the naming rights to Team Lotus, the historical Lotus F1 name, and intended to run the cars as Team Lotus for 2011. This led to a naming dispute with Lotus Cars, who'd announced a partnership with Renault Grand Prix in 2010, leading to that team to be rebranded as Lotus Renault Grand Prix for 2011, which meant there were two Lotus teams on the grid. Further confusion was caused by the fact that Team Lotus had switched to Renault engines for 2011, so it was Team Lotus Renault and Lotus Renault Grand Prix. So they'd be both using the power units and both using the Lotus name. The easiest way to tell them apart, other than, as we'll discuss in a moment, their position on track, was the livery. Team Lotus retained the green and yellow livery that they'd run in 2010, while Lotus Renault ran the iconic gold and black livery made famous by the original Team Lotus with the John Player Special sponsorship back in the 1970s. Naming issues aside, we find ourselves watching the Team Lotus T128 running around Barcelona, the site of the final pre-season test, as the setup for our 2011 season. Driven by Jarno Trulli and Heikki Kovalainen, a retained driver lineup, the Team Lotus aimed to pick up where they left off in 2010 as the best of the three new teams, all the while aiming to score that elusive first point. Admittedly, they were the ones that were closest to picking up those points in 2010. Quite comfortably better than HRT and Virgin Racing, and often found mixing it maybe with the Toro Rossos or the Williams. As mentioned before, Team Lotus dropped the Cosworth engine that all three new teams ran in 2010 in place of a Renault power unit, while also incorporating Red Bull gearboxes and hydraulics. The team also recruited a number of former Force India staffers who'd left the Silverstone-based outfit during the winter break. The changes, however, didn't produce the results that the team were hoping for, as the best Team Lotus results were a trio of 13th places, 2 for Trulli and 1 for Kovalainen, though they were comfortably ahead of both Virgin Racing and HRT for the second season in a row. It was, however, another pointless season for the outfit, who began running Caterham logos near the end of the season before their later switch to Caterham F1 from 2012 and beyond. For the rest of the grid, Sebastian Vettel took his second Drivers' World title on the bounce, and by quite a comfortable margin, making him at the time the youngest double world champion, and Red Bull also cruised to another Constructors' title. Jenson Button finished second, with Mark Webber slipping to third in the standings. McLaren, though, still fighting with Ferrari over that second spot. As for us, we'll be taking the place of Heikki Kovalainen for 2011. Not only looking to take a point home for the team that in real life managed none across their lifespan, but also attempting to match and or beat our impressive 80-point haul from 2010 in the Virgin Racing VR01. Much like 2010, we'll be running just 5 laps in practice, unless there's R&D to do, to get to grips with how this game handled these circuits. Spoiler alert, just from this race alone, much better than last year. And learn our one new venue in India. We'll be tackling 50% races with full qualifying, and, much like you're seeing here, spins included. So then, from the red, black and white of Virgin Racing to the British Racing green and yellow of Team Lotus, we move from one struggling new team to another. But can we bring the Team Lotus name back to any semblance of glory? Well, we've got 19 rounds to do it. So join us along the way and let's see if we can perform better than the real team, maybe even perform miracles. There it is then. Welcome to 2011. Welcome to Team Lotus. Round 1 is Melbourne, and that's going to be the next race that you'll see us in. But for now, enjoy watching the T128 for just a little bit longer, making its way around the circuit to Catalunya, even with me driving off very much into the gravel. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. If you missed 2010, the playlist will be right there for you at the end of this video. You can go back and watch the first 20 episodes. We've got another 20 to go in 2011. Hopefully, we can have maybe a better run of form than we did last year. Either way, I feel like it could be a bit of a battle. You look after yourselves wherever you are. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.